Good morning. You're listening to Central Wisconsin's 24-hour information station, AM 1320 WFHR. It's time now for the Morning Magazine, brought to you by Comfort Air Heating, Cooling, Plumbing.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Morning Magazine for this February 24th, 2021. You have your host, James J. Malouf here, and today at 10:30, we're going to be joined by our friends from the ODC. We'll have Pam Ross, Director of Fund Development, with us, and Callie Johnson's going to be joining her. Right now, though, we had a bit of a change-up. We had to pull somebody out from the bullpen here. We were going to be joined by Lance Plimmel, Wood County Board Chairman. Want to say hi to Lance. He was not able to join us, but Lance is such a good guy. He set us up somebody to talk to, and we're really happy to be talking to him. We got Chad Schooley with us today from the Wood County Parks Department. Good morning, Chad.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Good to have you with us, sir. Really good to have you with us. We also want to say hi to Kev and our friends over at Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. Always good to see you guys. We appreciate you. Keep up the great work. Chad, first off, we haven't talked in a while, so first, how have you been throughout things? It feels like 5 years since we talked, but I know it hasn't been that long.
It has been quite a while.
Yeah.
Doing great. You know, our parks are doing well. A lot of people are out there using them this time of year, as well as obviously year-round use out there. So, doing great. Thank you.
I thought we could start off right with the season that we're into right now, and I think that for some of us, we may not realize it, but winter's creeping up on ending here. The winter season's kind of coming to an end. So let's kind of touch on that a little bit, if you don't mind.
Sure. Yeah, so as everyone knows who is a snow enthusiast, we did have a pretty short season, unfortunately. So in Wood County Parks, there's several different opportunities that people are still enjoying, but it is coming to an end. We've got several different cross-country ski trails. A few of those are now multi-use trails, which individuals can get out and snowshoe, fat tire bike, in addition to cross-country skiing. We obviously have snowmobile trails, and so basically Sandra Green, who's our office supervisor, she also is the coordinator for snowmobile and ATV trails in Wood County. And unfortunately, they are closed right now, and it's not looking real good as far as reopening because of the weather, temperatures. But that was, again, another short season, opportunity season, but we did get them open. Shout out to all the clubs. I mean, basically the clubs in the county, volunteers are the ones that do all the work on those trails.
I'm really glad you actually shouted out two shout outs that I wanted to make sure we got to today. One, a big shout out to Sandra Green. She does a great job of keeping us in the loop of things and getting us information so we can get it out to the audience so quickly and everything. She's fantastic at what she does. And these volunteers, these snowmobile groups and organizations and what they do. I'll be honest, I've been snowmobiling a bunch since I moved out here, and I enjoy it and I like it. I had no idea all the work that it goes into making sure that these trails year-round, like for an average person like myself coming into it, thinking, well, these trails have got to be upkept, sure, but I didn't realize how upkept, and that it's a year-round kind of thing, basically, that you're always keeping an eye on that stuff.
Right. Yep. I mean, the vegetation doesn't stop growing, so, I mean, they have to go out on an annual basis and mow and cut the brush back. It's also people don't think about this, unfortunately, but it's also a lot of just public relations with landowners because, we're a little different than some counties where a lot of the trail is on public property. Most of the trail system in Wood County is actually on private property. So just earning and gaining the trust of those landowners and, obviously hoping that everyone enjoying the trails stay on the trails and respect those landowners as well. But that's a big part of the clubs as well as just, keeping a good relationship with all the landowners to keep those trails open.
Yeah, that feels like one of those things that I wouldn't say it's necessarily tricky, but it is something that you've got to balance because not every landowner is going to be a snowmobile driver themselves. Exactly. And even if they are, that may make them even more conscious of how the trails are being upkept and who's messing up on them.
Right.
Hopefully, it also kind of it has one of these cool things we don't see as much anymore in society, but these almost like gentleman rules. They're not written down necessarily, but there are certainly laws in place for these trails. But certain things are just kind of a respect thing.
Absolutely.
It may not be a spoken word, but it's something that you just know I'm not going to mess this up. I'm not going to treat this wrong.
Right,
kind of.
and every year it becomes trickier because in the past there may have been real large blocks of land, whether it was agriculture or forest land that was a single owner, and now as these parcels basically get broken up and you have more and new landowners. It just becomes that more tricky to keep those trails open on those properties.
Do you, not to predict anything, but just, as somebody I respect very much at the position you're in, do you think that this is something going forward here in the next 5-10 years? Is it going to be more tricky, more trouble, or?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get any easier. There's a variety of parts to that puzzle. These short winters, obviously, it's tough to maintain and retain club members. A lot of the small clubs, when I first started back in 2001 with the department, there are actually, I think, 3 or 4 more clubs than there are now. But those club members, they just basically, they're aging and they couldn't get new blood, younger individuals to come out and help and things like that. And so those trails basically were kind of swallowed up by these larger clubs, which is great in one aspect because we got to keep them open. But, just the activity, the active participants, like any organizations, you have your diehard volunteers and then you have kind of, those are that are kind of in the background. But that's going to be a tricky part, I believe, in the future. But then also just the new landowners and trying to keep that trail system going on private property. Yeah. It's not going to get any easier. Every year is kind of a challenge for clubs, but up till now they make it work, and we keep the trails open.
Well, and the best way to certainly make sure that those future relationships are okay are doing a good job now and keeping true to the same old traditions that have been going on for a long time. And I've seen a couple of reports and reached out to a couple of people in the industry as far as the numbers going down with snowmobile riders and that,
right.
and members of these clubs, especially when it comes to younger people and stuff. And I think that I think that things are in good hands as far as like making sure that the sport, the passion, the love of this, the hobby, however you want to word it, continues and it has a good future and everything. Right. And these things tend to go in ebbs and flows, teenagers, it's the way it can be sometimes. So right. I think that it's one of those things that we're going to have a long future in. But to what you were saying, it is going to be an interesting future, what it looks like, and especially that combination or that relationship between landowner, trail, and riders.
Right,
exactly. What are some other things as far as the winter season kind of coming to an end here that you guys in the department have to look forward to or have to do?
Yeah, so one of our I guess our biggest winter outdoor recreation areas is Powers Bluff, and so. Not sure. Have you been up there yet?
Yeah.
All right,
beautiful,
great.
Beautiful.
So Powers Bluff in the wintertime, year-round it's great.
Yeah.
Very scenic, but wintertime we've got snow tubing hill, skiing / snowboard hill. It's kind of a learner's, smaller hill with a cable tow. We also now have 3.5 miles of multi-use trail, which is the trail that I mentioned before, open to cross-country skiing, fat tire biking, and snowshoeing. In addition to that, we have another 3.5 miles that is really dedicated snowshoe trail. Some of that is groomed, some of it is just basically following tracks type of thing, but everything is signed. So we're very excited about the use up there this winter. Again, very short season, not only with lack of snow because we currently do not make snow up there, but also the cold stretch that we had to close down a couple days there. But very excited about the amount of trail use up at Powers Bluff. I think that's only going to grow, and as a department, our goal is to really expand the trail system up there. Primarily on the new portion of the park to the north. So that's our biggest hub as far as winter activity. I did mention trail systems, but Richfield 360 County Forest, which is not too many miles, few miles away from Powers Bluff, that has a trail system in there, multi-use trail system, a 1, 2, and 5 mile loop. And then our Nepco County Park here close to Wisconsin Rapids, That has a trail system primarily for cross-country skiing, but there's also a pretty extensive single-track trail which is used year-round, snowshoeing in the winter months, and biking as well, fat tire biking, and then very popular in the summer months for biking single-track off-trail.
Right on. I appreciate the breakdown there, Chuck.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think that we can all relate to, whether you're a Wisconsinite, you're a Midwesterner, what have you, we just are starting to report 30-degree temperatures. And I can't speak for anybody else, but I threw my Chuck Taylors on as soon as I could. I got my boots off as soon as humanly possible. We aren't the only ones getting ready for warmer weather and preparing for that. You guys in the Parks Department certainly have to do that. Before you tell us kind of what you do, how early do you have to start thinking about that kind of thing?
Well, basically, we're thinking about that year-round.
Year-round, yeah.
Because a lot of it, campground reservations are taken a year in advance, shelter reservations. Any of our construction or improvement projects in our buildings, ideally we'd like to do that off-season. Doesn't always work out because of temperatures and things like that. But so we're constantly, whether it's winter activities or summer activities, we're planning and thinking about that year-round.
Yeah. So what goes into prepping right now? What goes into getting things ready right now?
Sure. So our maintenance staff, which I just got to do another shout out. I'm very blessed as a department head, as a director of this for this department. Very dedicated group, full-time and seasonal. Obviously couldn't get the things done without them. And our parks and forestry areas wouldn't be the shape that they are without them. So they do a great job. But basically, right now, what they're doing, we do have some improvements that we're doing at the ATV area shelter building. We're putting in some countertop, additional electrical outlets, basically making it a little bit more user friendly. Staff in the other departments or other parks. Our staff out of North Park / Powers Bluff, they're very busy all winter, just trail work, trail grooming, getting the hill ready. I didn't mention that, but we are open hopefully the full weekend here at Powers Bluff yet. So if people still want to get out tubing and skiing, we're gonna open Saturday for sure and kind of see what that looks like. But but other things, this is the time of year where we actually go in and cut all of our dead trees, our hazard trees. There's a lot of acreage in our parks, and we obviously want to make that as safe as possible. So this is the time of year where our staff is in there cutting, hauling out all the dead trees and basically just general picnic table repair. Things like that. So
I want to second that big shout out to the maintenance and people out there and all the amazing work that they're doing. I didn't get a chance to do a whole lot of prep before you came in, not knowing we were going to be talking today. But one of the things I came across that I had to do a double read on, and I'd done my homework on our parks in our area here because I love going to them, not so much for a radio reason, but just because I like going to them. You guys, the Wood County owns and maintains over 2,000 acres of parkland.
Correct. Yes.
I did not realize that.
Yes.
Again, big shout out to you and everybody over there. That is pretty amazing, especially for the area that we have here.
Right.
We're pretty fortunate and blessed with that.
Very fortunate. I grew up in this area, so I grew up enjoying all of our parks and forestry areas. In addition to that 2,000 acres of parkland, our department, and specifically Fritz Schubert, who's our forest administrator, we own, maintain 38,000 acres of county forest property as well. And so obviously the main goal of that is for timber production and really supporting our timber industry in this area.
Yeah.
But there's several different outdoor recreation opportunities within that property as well. So yes, our staff, we're pretty bare bone. We don't have a lot of full-time employees. We bring a few extra hands on during busy seasons. But the staff that we do, they really do an exceptional job. So.
Yeah, hear, hear. When it comes to dealing with, adaptability, there's certain, almost every job has to be adaptable and everything, but certain industries it's a little more fun to talk to people about because
Sure.
we can have a real relatability between what we do here or what Kev and the gang at Wisconsin Rapids Community Media do. You have to be adaptable. You can prepare and prep for all these kind of things, and then, the person you were going to interview can't come in that day, so you got to, change things up and adapt. You guys have something different you deal with, though, with Mother Nature. Because there's Mother Nature and then there's Wisconsin Mother Nature. Steph and I were joking about this earlier. We all know that spring's going to come and it's going to be 1 degree, certain colder weather in the morning, and by, mid-afternoon, you're having your shorts and a short sleeve shirt on, that kind of thing. How is it adapting to Mother Nature, especially in years like this, when you're trying to prep for a whole new season?
Well, we've been through it all.
Right on.
We've in our parks. I've witnessed and I've been involved with cleanup projects from flooding, major flooding within our parks. We've had issues with strong windstorms where basically we spend the next year and a half, not constantly, but basically cleaning up from that with downed trees and brush and pulling out stumps and landscaping. This profession, this parks and forestry, you just go with it.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared for everything. Obviously, that's something that our staff is very familiar with as well, and it's not only Mother Nature, but I mean you can come into work one day, speaking as a former maintenance worker out at the parks, and you can have a whole schedule of things that you're going to do, and whether it's a few bad apples who did something in the park, or Mother Nature, or their supervisor or the director gives them a call and wants them to do some kind of change plans. No 2 days are exactly the same. It's difficult on one hand, but it's kind of why I love my position and this field on the other hand.
Yeah. I wouldn't speak for Kev or Joe or anybody over there, but I guarantee that they're a little similar. I know we are in this industry. We kind of like the madness. We kind of do enjoy it a little bit. There's a little bit of joy in it. We can't help it. I wanted to touch on some numbers before we wrap up here and everything, Chad. But before we do that, you mentioned something earlier that got me thinking about our last conversation, and I don't think I had time to ask, but I always like talking to people that are from the area and when they get in positions like this and how much it must mean to not only be able to do a job you love and you have a passion for, but then to be able to do it for your neck of the woods, your hometown and everything, and your home area. How does that feel because that's got to add to what you were just saying before about every day you go into work. Because not every day is sunshine and roses and everything.
Right.
Yeah, we have those rougher days. Everybody's got them. It's got to help in the back pocket to have that, I'm doing this for my neck of the woods. I'm doing this for my hometown. It's got to feel good.
Absolutely. I'm very blessed, as far as working in this field, number one, but also, improving people's lives in my hometown, my wife and I we're both from this area. We have family in this area. And, growing up using these parks, using these trails, and now having the chance to improve those and really develop a lot of brand new areas, brand new facilities. It's great.
Yeah, it's cool. It's good to hear, man. Good on you. Good and for your wife, too. That's awesome for you guys. That's really cool to hear. One of the things we were talking about in our pregame was the interesting numbers that came out of this past year and everything. So I want to give you some time with that.
Yeah, so, obviously, it's in the news every day, the pandemic and the effects of that.
I have heard something about this.
Yes. So I just found it amazing. And I guess, again, going back to that, very appreciative of allowing and managing parks and forestry areas that really got people out of the house and people utilizing those areas this past season. The numbers that we look at after the season, it's just been amazing. So just kind of comparing a few numbers from 2019 versus 2020.
That's what I was really curious about.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So in 2020, we had a total, so we have 3 campgrounds, South Park, Dexter, and North Park. In 2020, we saw approximately 20,000 camping unit nights as a total. Comparison, that is about 5,000 camping unit nights more than 2019. If you look at percentages and just the amount of use, we already have a lot of use, and primarily it's on weekends. But this past year, we just saw a real expansion of families staying the whole week, or a lot more weekday usage at our campgrounds. So that was the first thing. If you go down the list of all of our user fee areas, disc golf at Northwood County Park, our boat launches. Those are the main areas, but then just visually looking at our beaches, our walk trails, areas that do not necessarily have fees associated with them, but just visually seeing how many people were out. And it was crazy. It was just day after day. It was very busy. And I really want to thank the health department. Obviously, with this whole thing, we're basically communicating on best practices, what can and can't happen, and to their credit, they offered just that. They offered best practices, but there was never any sort of you have to do this, you have to do that. When this all started, there were several communities, several counties, cities that they basically decided that we're going to close down either parts of the park or activities within the park, even our own state parks. Their campgrounds did not open until June. We took a different approach. We felt, as well as the health department, really felt that outdoor recreation could be done safely. And I'm really glad we made that decision and we're able to, provide that to the public.
We got really fortunate with having, in this state in particular, with having the departments that we do being so good at what they do and being able to reach out to so many different groups like yourselves and everything, and be on a talking basis and communicating with each other about these things so that we can make sure that we gave some people some things to do that we're still safe.
Right.
And we are extremely blessed with having the amount of parks and the wonderful parks that we have in this area, because you couldn't ask for a better activity that included physical distancing.
Exactly.
Right. Being outside and being able to enjoy some of this area that I think that it's not that we don't appreciate things, but we get so used to something, and we don't spend every second of our day being, well, I'm really thankful for oxygen. We just kind of breathe. We're just used to it. It's not that we don't appreciate oxygen.
Right.
We just get used to it. We get like that with our parks. One of the silver linings of this pandemic, I've felt, and I've seen this throughout our whole country, is people being like, wow, we got some really beautiful parks, or wow, we got some really beautiful national parks.
Exactly.
This gives us a great opportunity to not only appreciate you, your staff, and everybody and what you guys do on a day in, day out basis, but appreciating what Mother Nature gave us, because we got some beautiful area. We really do.
Right.
One of the last things I wanted to make sure that we touched on before we wrap up is to have people keep that in mind as we go forward here. We need to treat these parks and our land like we would treat our moms. And in a sense, she's watching. Mother Nature's watching. Mm-hmm. So I mean, take care of these parks, treat them right, and give Chad and the gang a little less to do when it comes to this stuff. Because that way you can focus on other stuff and everything. But
yes,
we really do. We want to keep these parks beautiful for not just us, but the generation after us and after and after. So take good care of them, everybody. Chad, before we let you go, is there anything that you wanted to let the audience know or get some information out to them with?
Well, real quickly, the sun's getting out here a lot more and things are warming up. So, camping season's just around the corner. Yes. May 1st, actually, I believe May 1st is basically our opener, depending on if it falls on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But get your reservations in right now. You can do that online or give our office a call. We do take them 12 months in advance. In addition to our shelter buildings, we have a multiple variety of different shelter buildings for different events. So start thinking about that. Get your reservation in because they do fill up quickly. So.
Yeah, I'm going to be calling you guys real soon. Like last 2 summers, I've been trying to get out camping. I have to this year. I have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I got to. So I'll be seeing you guys out there, and I'm not the only one. A lot of us will. We appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining us, Chad.
Thank you.
Big thank you to Chad Schooley, Director of Wood County Parks Department, for joining us. Always want to thank our friends Kev and Joe and everybody over at Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. We appreciate you guys and the great work that you do. We're going to take a quick break, come back with our friends from the ODC on more Morning Magazine, AM 1320. This is WFHR.